guys, so on this one, myself and Gareth are going to have a look at terrain. We have a couple of bits here to show you. So, because obviously if you're going to fight in Vietnam, you want to get some bits and pieces of terrain
you do need.
look like Vietnam.
Yep.
So what do you need for Vietnam? Long grass, short grass, mud and swamps, forest. That's your basics.
Yep.
But there are a couple of specifics as well.
Yep.
So here we have the Vietnamese huts in this one and paddy fields. So I'm going to kick off by having a look at the huts. So there they are on the box. Who are these guys here in the black?
These are local forces. So you know, these are I suppose what you'll call your noticeable North Vietnamese. The VC, the Viet Cong.
Yeah. They're
there with their coolie hats. In the box, there's ones with pitchforks. There's some villager style ones in there. So these are the ones that aren't, you know, sort of the guerrilla warfare.
In the box, comes 2 huts. I'll give that to you. And then each hut has a thatched roof. So let me just show you there. There's a kind of like a white clad hut. Now they're pre-painted out of the box. There's nothing you need to do to these really. So you can just get these things and stick them down on your gaming table, and you have a small Vietnamese village. Inside, well, it's a bit of a textured floor there, and there's the lid on, which gives you that thatched roof. Now people, there can be soldiers and stuff can go in and out of these buildings just as they can in
just as they can in Flames of War. So you have the roof that you can take off. You can fit 2 large bases, 2 normal sized bases. Or your command troops in there as well.
So there's little bits of bamboo detailing. There's cracks and stuff in the walls. At the end of the day, it's a hut.
It's a hut.
But when you have a few of these on the gaming table, it really does start to
bring up the village scene. Yeah.
As well as that, as the likes of Flames of War and stuff move east.
Yep.
I'm sure these things you could use these in Pacific Theatre or whatever you want.
So
I mean, you're going to get a fair bit of reuse out of it.
I mean, this is a hut with a thatched roof. So, if you wanted to remove, model over the bamboo shutters, they can be used anywhere where there's a daubed hut with.
Yeah, because you were still finding stuff like this in kind of like in Europe as well, in parts of Europe.
Parts of Russia and the steppes. Yeah. Especially in the wheat growing areas where they would have lots of straw to thatch the roofs.
Yeah.
So these are a nice versatile piece.
Lovely, lovely. Well, the other thing that I want to have a look at is there anything kind of rules-wise or that people should be aware of with the huts, or do they just work as standard buildings work in Flames of War?
They work exactly the same as Flames of War. There's no special rules for buildings in Vietnam or Torju.
In the next one, we've got paddy fields, and I want to have a very quick look at these. Now, in terms of paddy fields, is there anything we should know about rules-wise or games-wise for paddy fields?
They just slow your movement down ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Where are we? Paddy fields.
Let me just show you in there.
Yeah, they just become. You have 2 choices. What we've done is we've done them with a slight sheen on it. So we've put some. So you can say that is a wet rice paddy field.
Yep.
So that will make it very difficult going. Okay. Or if you want, you agree with your opponent. It's a dry paddy field, so then it just becomes slow going.
Yeah.
But you can put more liquid in those, so you can really fill up those ridges.
On the box, you'll see that they've actually poured more liquid into it. So you can get water effects. There's various water effects that you can actually pick up, and you could just pour the water effect in it to make it more wet. And to be fair, if I was going to have paddy fields on my board in a game of Vietnam, I would want them wet, because if they're going to be there, you
might as well have them.
You may as well have them have an effect on the game, so they have to.
And then there's also some static in there, so you can put it around the edges.
So little bits of static grass, 2 bags of it there, so you can model around the edges to try and fill it in. So you get, let me see, 4 different sizes of paddy field. So there's a large one, slightly smaller again, and then these 2 are actually slightly different sizes as well. So 4 paddy fields in it. So even there, just looking at the 2 houses and 4 paddy fields, you already start to get a feel for one segment of a village. You're not going to need an awful lot of them.
Another couple of houses.
Yeah.
You know.
And you've got it. So, terrain-wise, there's a bunch of terrain options. It's definitely worth checking out because I don't know about you guys, but for me, one of the big things about wargaming is terrain.
It's terrain.
I love the battlefields. You know, and there's nothing I love more than being able to put together a really cool battlefield that not only looks cool, but actually affects the way you play as well.
Everything with terrain should have a bunch of trees shouldn't be on the table just to be a bunch of trees. They should have an effect in the game.
Yeah.
In the back of the Tory Duty book, terrain. There is varying types of terrain in Vietnam. You go everything from the marshy, boggy areas of the delta, and then you've got the dry highlands up in the mountains, and then you've got your real jungle.
Yeah.
So what we've done is in the back of the book, you've got rules that affect all your different types of terrain. You mentioned short, medium, and tall grass, and the elephant grass. So we've done rules for that as well. So it gives you different levels of concealment, so your troops can hide better. So we make the battlefield as a tactical, challenging environment as you possibly can. Yeah. Or you play on a nice open village area, and you just have it out in the village.
The other thing it does is it meets. A long time ago, I was chatting to one of the senior members of Battlefront, and I was asking, what's the ambition of Battlefront? What is it they were trying to do with Flames of War? And I was told at the time, well, our ambition is to bring you the war. We don't just talk about it.
Yep.
We have 1,500 codes or whatever of products to bring the war to your tabletop.
That's it.
Let you do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And here again, I see this again with Tour of Duty. Like, we're not just talking about. I think there's only one item in the book that isn't available to buy today.
That's right.
But even down to the very terrain, it's that ambition still seems to be there. That you've done Tour of Duty, you're at this stage. You want to bring Vietnam to the tabletop.
And what we want to do is we don't just want to make it a book of history and army lists. We want to make it your hobby. So in the book, it goes through. Here's how you paint your troops.
Yeah.
How do you paint your American helicopters? How do you paint your tanks? So we have a colour guide in there. There is history in there for those guys who really want to get into their history, which just scratches the surface. And then there's all the different variant army lists that we've gone out and discovered so far.
Yeah.
But again, we've discovered a few. There's lots more army lists. There's so much more for us to look at in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And then we go into the North Vietnamese side, and then we look at it and goes, oh, hold on a moment, you're fighting in Vietnam. That's different from Europe. So we've gone and looked at the terrain. How will that affect the gaming?
Yeah.
So everything we can do to enable you to enjoy the hobby in Vietnam, we've tried to put that in this book. And adding the detail just means you've got a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it further and go deeper into the jungle, go for it.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Look, thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions about Vietnam, post them in the comments below, and we'll do our very best to try and get you the answers to any questions you might have. Other than that, a big thank you from me and from Gareth for watching.
Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed it.